evil host, Batula. Presumably back from the dead. Fanboys and fangirls, it was a close call after all. I felt the life ebbing from my body after... Of course, I want to thank all of my fans who attempted to find me in local hospitals. But if you truly knew me, you would know. Bachelor, he don't have no insurance, baby. So evil. And sad. Anyway though, after a few days in the free clinic, I am as good as new and alright as rain. Anyway, welcome back for Bachelor's Halloween Countdown. May it continue. So, after finding out that my bank account was frozen, there was only one thing to do. Wait for Jared, whose house I'm currently living in. Maybe without his knowledge, but I'm not sure. Wait for him to get a package and resort to the most evil form of malevolence of all. Porch piracy. Summoning all of my powers, I solid snaked onto the porch and stole his package. Oh, it sounds good, ladies and gentlemen. Fanboys and fangirls, it's one of those Mezco packages. You know, the kind with the black tape. That can only mean one thing. There's a really, really overpriced figure in here. So, it is with great excitement that I start my next evil review.
Alright, I'm so excited to see what is in this box. I hope it's one of those cool new Mezco figures that I've been reading so much. Oh yes, it's a Mezco 112. I'm so excited. Okay. Come on, Bachelor. Keep it together. Maybe my old friend like Nosferatu. And let's say... Wait. What? Doctor, I've got to go. Bye. Bachelor? You still down here, dude? Bachelor... Oh. Camera's running. Oh, I see. Well, Bachelor, you're not stealing this review from me, buddy. I may be letting you live in my basement, but see that he got one look at the character we're reviewing today, and he headed for the hills. What a cheapo. Doc Nocturnal. He knew that Doc don't care too much for them vampire people, so let's see what we got in here. This is the new Red Death version. Yeah, hello fanboys and fangirls. Of course, the Red Death version was a Mezco exclusive, just like the original Doc Nock. I really loved that figure. Had a little bit of QC issues with him, so hopefully that doesn't get repeated here. But I'm excited to open this up and see what the Red Death version is all about. It was a very kind of limited exclusive. Oh, that's neat. They redid kind of the little insert artwork and made it with a green face and the red outfit. I actually like this a lot better than the original art piece. Let's see what we got here. Of course, you have a little note that shames you for ever even thinking about playing with it as a toy. How dare you? And here we have Doc Nocturnal and all the stuff. So this is the Red Death version. It's cool because it comes with kind of like Plague Doctor, like masks and stuff and some different weapons. So I'm really excited about it. It does come with this regular white skull, but then there's this cool green skull as well, which I really like. And here we have the Red Death version of Doc Nocturnal. I have him geared up with a few different accessories here. So let's just go ahead and begin by talking about the figure itself. I decided to go ahead and put on his like plague mask, as that appears to be the lore in it, that I guess the black Mosquatch is spreading some kind of virus. So Doc Nocturnal is trying to solve the case. He's having to wear some protective gear here. It is similar in terms of the printing and everything to the original Doc Nocturnal release, with the cobwebs and the skull and everything here, but it's done in a really nice red. You have the black stripes this time, so it's kind of an inverse of what we saw last time. Cape is the same as what we saw, along with the hood, except now it's in a red pleather. On the back, I've always appreciated how the spider webs kind of go all the way around. You can see the belt can hold different weapons that we're going to go over here in a little bit. So the plague mask is really cool. Really like that the lenses are red, as you can see there if you look closely. And if you just pull the hood back, that plague mask just slips right off. And you have a fairly traditional looking Doc Nocturnal head. It is a little different in the way that they did it, with a kind of chalky white and just pure black behind it there. I still really love all the little details in this, and I think it turns out really nicely, and you can see a lot of cool stuff going on there. Apparently the main look for this figure, according to the art and the base stand and the box and all that, is to use the standard Doc Nocturnal head. And this time it's a reverse of what we got the last time. So the last time, if you remember, this was the alternate head that was kind of like green and kind of glowy looking. This time, this is the standard Doc Nocturnal head, and it's done with the glow-in-the-dark green. And I have to say, there's something about this combination that really sells it for me. I guess it's just the colors and the way that they work together, I think is a really fine combination. Of course, we learned in that original review and with the mini comic and things that Doc Nocturnal is kind of a mysterious entity, and he fights all sorts of different occult and spooky creatures and lives in like this kind of like chamber. And they weren't very clear about what Doc Nocturnal was and kind of leaves it to your imagination slightly. And I think that's for the best, because I think it's always better when you can kind of fill in those gaps yourself. So I'm not going to spend very long on this, but it's just articulation. The quality of the figure is so much better than the original Doc Nocturnal that we got. This is a major step in the right direction, because these legs aren't floppy like the original version I had was, but you have all sorts of great articulation. You have some double joints here. You have kind of, this is the one part that's kind of weak because you can't do much with the ankle. So I'm not going to go into great detail because, you know, there's the original review for that. He can bend down a little bit, bend back. The arms can go way up. You can get all sorts of great poses. There's a double jointed elbow right there. This is done on like their teen, like Spider-Man body. So it's extremely posable. And it's also kind of the intention for Doc Nocturnal to be kind of this littler guy. So I really do like that visually. I remember at first I was really surprised by how little he was, and kind of a little body with a big head. But after, you know, kind of getting adjusted to it, I think it's a neat visual and kind of helps define him. And in a lot of ways, Doc Nocturnal is my favorite of the original Mezco characters and designs, because it's more like what I'm into. It's more like those old pulp heroes and kind of that horror aesthetic. And you can see that he's very easy to pose around. The one drawback, like I said, is those ankles. I wish they would have taken the opportunity to use some of their more improved ankle articulation that they've done on some more recent figures. I think that would have been a nice surprise. He does come with several accessories beyond what we've seen. In particular, this really cool smoke plume that's like a skull face. Of course, I have no idea if that was like used previously or something. If it was, I don't know anything about it. He comes with a huge array of different hands to hold all of his weapons. I think he comes with like 12 hands, counting the ones he has, so it's a huge amount. So just like last time, he does come with like these little smoke grenade bomb things with his face painted on them. He also comes with like this grapnel launcher thing, and these pinchers, of course, can be open just like in the original release. This is the wired version, so if you want to do some creative posing with that, you can. I'm always afraid to flex that wire stuff because I know that once I bend it, it won't go back. Of course, he does come with one that isn't extended or anything like that, and that's probably more my speed. You can see that he does come with like a little alternate piece to put on the belt, so I think that's cool. All you have to do is take one of the pouches off, and it just pegs in. Instead, this is the pouch that's removable, and then you just take this. As you can see, it plugs right in. I actually really like using it here because it gives him an extra little bit of color, and it helps tie in that kind of gaudy green skeleton head sculpt in with the rest of the figure. So I may actually keep it like this. I know I will for the rest of the review, so I just like it. I like it when there's color variation, but I also like it when those colors are tied together by something. Some of his alternate hands are really fun. With kind of the two fingers, like, you know, tactical signaling. You have the open palms like this. You have, of course, the ones that are meant to hold things, and there's several different varieties of those. And there's trigger fingers for things like his blaster here. And I know that this has a name that I probably said in the original review, but I can't remember it outright. But I really like the look of this. Now, what's cool this time is this is glow in the dark, and we'll get into the glow in the dark features. Of course, the hands swap out very easily. I really like it when Doc Nocturnal has the gun in hand like this, because it makes him look more pulpy, even more so than what he already does. I'll tell you, this color scheme and all that is really doing it for me. It almost reminds me of, like, I don't know, like the bizarre way that they would sometimes color these characters for like posters of a movie serial or something. And you can see that with old like Batman movie serial posters or Phantom movie serial posters, where the colorist or whoever just kind of took a big old guess at what color the character was supposed to be, or just changed the color to make it more appealing because, you know, things just weren't as stringent like that back then. I also like that the lining on the cape is black on the inside, and it contrasts really nicely, and it looks a ton better than if they just went with a flat red. He does come with some other like brand new accessories, and some of these we actually saw in the last Return of the Baker's Dozen pack. And I don't know what you'd call these, mortars or something, or mines, but those are cool. He comes with this big old gigantic Tommy gun, and I love the details on this. He comes with a beautiful like sawed-off shotgun here, and it looks so nice. And you can see that you can open it up just as if you were going to load the shells into it, and it closes back up. So this is a really cool addition. This was a cool and kind of surprising addition. It's this katana, but if you get it out, it's this kind of like green. And I'm telling you, I may be wrong here, but it kind of reminds me of the old like blade weapon that he would use in Spider-Man the Animated Series. That was like a light up, like glowing sword, almost like a lightsaber. So Doc Nocturnal is kind of a blade-like character, so I don't know. Maybe it's something, maybe it's not. And very interestingly, we get this chest harness, which is the same one that we got in that Return of the Baker's Dozen set. What I like about this one, though, versus that, is that this actually comes with the pistols that should go in it. So let's get those set up. And thankfully, this is just really easy to just pull apart. I didn't have to like press down anything for this to come apart. And once you get that harness on there, I mean, it really does add something kind of special to the figure. I don't know what it is. I guess it's that extra little bit of kit or something. But once you see Doc Nocturnal with that, it really lets you know that he's kind of loaded for bear, or Mosquatch in this case. Then from there, just add the sword, and gracious son, look at that. That is awesome looking. This Doc Nocturnal, I really love that original figure, but I think this is more my preferred one now. And what's great is I'll be able to mix and match all these pieces with the original and come up with some really wild kind of combinations. I mean, you could easily take the plague mask and put on the original, switch out that skull for this one. So there's just lots of cool options that you have with it. Just so you know, there are some bullet effects like this, and these are old Mezco standbys, but I really like this one as if you're shooting up, or you can turn it around the other way as if you're shooting down. And one more little bullet effect right here. And that can easily go into the little ray gun right there. So let's go ahead and see what he looks like with the glow-in-the-dark feature. So let's go ahead and hit the light. And you can see that the skull glows so brightly. It looks really great. There's a couple of other elements that glow as well, maybe not as brightly, like his grenades and his wrist gauntlet and the symbol on his gun. But those really aren't too noticeable compared to just how bright the skull is. Here's the real question. How many reviews am I going to do where there's a figure with one green glowing skull and nothing else glows? This is exactly like the Masterverse Scare Glow that I looked at recently. But I do think the skull looks really nice, and it's, you know, just a cool little extra. Would have been neat if some other stuff glowed, though. And it would be absolutely insane not to include some kind of comparison to the original Doc Nocturnal. And as you can see, they're very, very different. Even more different than I had in my head. These are just opposite ends of the spectrum here. This is as wild and kind of outrageous in colors as you can possibly go. And this one is so muted. It's amazing to see them side by side. I think each one of them kind of represents their own fun thing. But there is one little thing I want to do, and I'm sure some of you may have been curious about this as well. So sure enough, the capes are interchangeable, and I actually think this one looks pretty neat. I prefer the red cape that it comes with, but this is an option if you have the original Doc Nocturnal. What doesn't look as good here is Doc Nocturnal with this red cape. Not only does it not match the red on the rest of the figure, it just looks funny. It almost looks like he's trying to wear like a Superman cape, so it doesn't work. But this works okay. Just in case you're curious, here's Doc Nocturnal without the cape. Not a huge fan of him being without the cape, but I do think that that added kit with the harness does kind of alleviate some of his kind of very minuscule build with the giant head. And originally the cape was the only way to kind of get around that. But with this kit, I think that it helps it. So if you want to do this, I think it's a lot more doable like this. In particular, you could take the hood down like this, and I think it probably looks even better without the cape. So I know this is called Red Death Edition, but I think it should be called Absolute Crazy Fun Edition because this thing is wild. I just think that they go for all of kind of the crazy tropes, the nutty colors, and just they're throwing in everything with the kitchen sink. Here I actually had a lot of fun with the added kit. The original Doc Nocturnal kind of had the big rig that he wore with a big cylinder and all that, and that was neat, but it was so cumbersome to put on that it made me a nervous wreck. That combined with all the QC issues and little problems and hiccups, this one just doesn't have any of those problems. All the things that I didn't really enjoy that much about the original Doc Nocturnal have been completely minimized and just eliminated here. So I have to say this is really nice, and I've had nothing but fun with this. There's been no aggravation whatsoever, and it's just a great figure. Unfortunately, it sold out pretty quickly. Of course, it was pretty limited. Of course, make sure that you're subscribed to the Slugfest Emporium. And those emails, they'll come at you pretty quick. Usually they list the stuff at like 1 or something, and there's always an email that gives you like a heads up. But still, it's such a weird way to buy figures, and it makes it very difficult to buy them. And, you know, I've complained about this stuff in the past, and it's part of the promotion for the figure. These are supposed to be limited run little, you know, pop-up items that just goes up really quick, and it's supposed to generate, you know, all kinds of buzz, and it does a good job of that. So that is what it is, and that's just the way the business model is, and we can complain about it, but that's the way it is. Can't wait to see them come out with some of the other variants they've teased, like the Nosferatu. So if you can get only one Doc Nocturnal, which one would I suggest? This one. Yeah, it's more fun. There's more bright colors. This one's really good, but, you know, it had its little problems. I eventually got a really good copy from Mezco, and for that I'm thankful. The customer service went very well for me on that experience. I know it doesn't for everybody, and I love the accessories. I love the loadouts you can get and the looks. And yeah, this is the one to get, in my opinion. So it's a fantastic figure. So now I just need to go get Batula and let him know that it's safe to come out. And of course, I'll see you guys in the next one. Batula!
Did you hear that? I think he's still around here somewhere. But this isn't funny, Jared. Is Doc Nocturnal around? He killed a lot of my first and second and third cousins, twice removed. Doc Nocturnal's been hunting me for years. Oh God! Wait! No, Doc Nocturnal! Ooh, baby.